Hi, this is Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. The other thing that always affects mental illness in this case is that it's not just the medical part, but there's so much of the social part too. And it looks like that social part is either dumped on the legal system or on the healthcare system, but it's really not where it should be built in a different way too.
I know, because we don't look at them as people. And we tend to apply a criminal justice model as opposed to a disease model. We wait until they get really, really sick and then end up in an acute system, whether it be an emergency room, a crisis unit, or a jail, to start to get services. Where if we treated it like a disease and there's an early onset and we start to get you treated, recovery rates are much, much better. And we don't do that in this country, and that's part of the problem, that it's costing us so much money.
Just like you were saying before, if you know someone is having a heart attack, you want to intervene as fast as possible.
Right.
You're not going to let that person
Right.
have a heart attack for 2 or 3 days.
Oh, plus the organ's getting damaged every second's going by. Well, this organ's getting damaged too.
So the faster and the better.
Right,
the more. With an eye in the future, what do you foresee will happen in the system in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, what I'm hopeful, and I'm just an optimistic person, but I'm seeing it. For the last 10 years, we have been building a wonderful infrastructure across this country on starting to teach judges all across the country. And they've become such wonderful advocates because they're in a neutral, they're like Switzerland. They don't offend anybody, they have access, they can bring people together, and they're on the front line, and they're understanding this, and they know there's a better way to do it. And we have like 500 judges nationally starting to do what we're doing here. And so I'm very optimistic that more diversion, mental health courts are starting to be established. We're doing a lot of work with the VA now, and because we have a lot of vets coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq with severe PTSD, and the numbers of the arrests are through the roof, and we're really trying to do that. So from long term, I think we're going to get more sophisticated and work more towards treatment than incarceration. But I'm also optimistic and hopeful that our medical field will become more sophisticated, and we'll have some kind of imaging tests to be able to determine schizophrenia, and we'll treat it more like the disease it is because we'll have tests for it, and we'll really be able to have better ideas. And so I think we're moving in the right direction, probably slower than I'd like it. But and I think the other thing that might be promising is you have these long-term injectables that, if they don't have side effects and they're effective, might be a good way for, particularly for this very difficult population that's recycling.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic.
That things are coming
but
together.
They are coming together, and they're coming together well. And for the first time, money is being. That's how I know it's working. Money is finally being put in through foundations. Some of the industry are really starting to step up for the first time. The American Psychiatric Association is really stepping into this in a big way. And so I think it's very encouraging. And so I'm encouraged. And I hope that in 10 years I'm out of the business of mental health, that someone doesn't have to get arrested to get care, and that it's a last resort for someone with acute mental illness to come in front of me, not a first. And that's where we are today.
Judge Leifman, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much
It's been
for
a
your
pleasure.
interest. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed episode 8 and the interview with Judge Leifman as much as I have. And there's much food for thought after this episode. There's several issues that we discussed aside from severe mental illness here that I want you to really reflect upon and think about. But there's a couple of additional issues that I think are very important here that you can reflect upon in your own life. One of them is there anything that you're truly passionate about? Is there anything that's really dear to your heart? And do you feel alone? as an advocate for this very tough theme. If there's anything that has inspired me, I hope that this has inspired you too, is to realize that you're not alone, but that it is extremely important to try to bring in a coalition of like-minded individuals. Or if they're not like-minded individuals yet, maybe start a coalition of people who will directly benefit from some of the things that are truly dear to your heart. So in the spirit of collaboration and advocacy, try to see how you can bring all of this together, how you can bring all the players together around the table so that you can at least get started with a good conversation. Other lessons learned here is nothing happens from one day to the next, and less so when you're trying to bring some huge changes within society, within the social aspects, within healthcare, or even within the legal system. Things do take time. But at the same time, the more that you can plan ahead, try to see how is it that I can plan ahead? How is it that you can bring all the important heads together so that you can all try to come to terms with some joint purpose, with some joint heart there that will help you advance together in your quest for advocacy and collaboration. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.